How's it going, friends and family of the internet? Welcome to the Real AF TV podcast, the show about fishing and random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes. I'm one of your hosts, Josh LaBaw.
And I am Tim Wagner.
We're going to do a little bit of a different show, Tim, aren't we? Because we have discussed this one a little bit, which is not usually how we go. Peek behind the curtain. It's not that we don't discuss this stuff ahead of time. It's just that we go into it pretty fresh usually, but we discussed this one a little bit ahead of time. We are going to do...
No.
So it's not that this isn't going to be the show about fishing and random takes, because it's definitely going to be that. But there's going to be multiple topics in each topic this time.
Dream inside a dream inside a
dream. So before we get into our first topic, the fishing topic, which is fishing news, it's going to be some fishing news that's been happening lately. And the second half, the random take, we are going to talk about some crazy shit that we heard the internet. It's fucking crazy. Yeah. It will just deliver you random shit randomly. And we're going to talk about that.
Facts.
So let's do a little housekeeping before we get into that. Don't forget, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/realaftv. That's real with the double E in the middle. You can get this video podcast. Yes, I said it. You can get the video edition for as little as $1. Currently, we are still in beta mode. Jesus, I keep saying that forever and ever. You're fucking droning on. Get it out there already. But I still have to go on Tim's computer and do some shit, and it's just been a fucking crazy summer. We're trying to get the video right. So for $1, we would like to welcome you aboard over at realaf.tv/Patreon. Shoot you over to the Patreon page. You can join us for $1. Get this shit. Keep up with us because, yes, we do updates at the beginning of the podcast, kind of, sort of. We do things on social media like Twitter at realaftv, realaf.tv. Look us up on the social medias because we do updates on there, but the Patreons are the ones who will really be getting the updates. They're the ones that we'd be feeding those updates to. You know what I mean? Right, Tim?
Yeah. Yep. That's what we're talking about. Feeding them the updates. I just repeated what you said.
It'd just be a better place to keep up with what Real AF TV is doing. I'm stumbling on my words. So,
yep.
Just wanted to put that out there again because that's what we do. We got to fucking promote the Patreon. Come on over and join us. There's some cool shit that will be going on there if we get any Patreons. Want to talk about some technical issues we've been having. If you follow us on Facebook or Twitter, look us up, reelaf.tv. There have been some technical issues on the feeds. There's been some issues with the website. There's been some issues with the feeds. Please, we've been working hard to fix those. They should be fixed. So I hope you're hearing this podcast when it drops on Monday. Remember, the podcast drops every other Monday. And we've been having some issues in the last month. Hopefully that has all been hashed out and will continue to get better as we continue to troubleshoot it. So don't be afraid to share this with a friend. And if you have that fucking friend who's just like, oh yeah, I only listen to podcasts on RSS feeds, tell them, fuck you. You should listen to it on Google Play.
Yeah. Stupid motherfucker.
But if you do have that friend that's like, oh no, I like to listen over on Stitcher or something like that, you let us know. Please go find us on social media, hit us up and say like, hey man, I tried to share your podcast with my buddy and he's listening to it on Stitcher and I didn't find you guys on Stitcher. It's like, oh shit, I'm not on Stitcher. Hold on a second. We'll hook that up. We want to reach everybody we can. Please share with a friend and go to patreon.com/realaftv with a double E for real. And, show some love.
Yeah.
That's housekeeping.
Please. Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Thanks.
Please and thank you. That's housekeeping. Let's get into the fishing news that I had brought up for us, and we are going to start with Asian carp, still invasive. That is not the name of the article. I just thought that was a fucking better title than the article.
Right. There's still a problem.
Yeah. So we've talked about carp before.
Yep.
We've talked about carp several times because I have a little bit of I think obsession is the wrong word, Tim. What would you call passion? No, passion isn't. I don't know. I don't like invasive species, and I don't have enough time to pay attention to them to be like angry or pissed off or active about it. But I just really don't like invasive species, and I like to make people aware of it. We have a platform.
You're an activist.
Am I an activist?
For you hate Asians.
You can't say that right now in this
Just
in this climate.
Just carbs. No, I know. Stop Asian hate unless it's against the carps. Because
Right.
those fuckers are stupid.
They're really causing a lot of problems. And actually, we talked about it in episode 16. You can go over there and get some more info. But the reason why I wanted to bring this one to the table is Asian carps are still invasive. I went to outdoorlife.com, and the links will be in the description of the YouTube video if you want to go over to YouTube and look up Real AF TV with 2 E's. And what it really did is it brought up this Tennessee River carp. Now, I didn't look it up, but you've seen these carp that jump out and fucking slap people in the face, right?
Yes, I've seen that. And I see, like, I want to take part in some of the fun stuff that they do because they're invasive species, so nobody gives a shit.
You can pretty much do anything. Like, I've never seen any restriction.
Yeah, guys water skiing that are like catching them with nets and stuff. There was one I saw, a guy had like this like a vest or like a homemade like vest that had like hooks all over them, like giant hooks. And they were just
like a body armor vest?
Yeah, basically. And they were trying to catch these fish by just like water skiing and having them fly out and basically like stick to him. Just and it was working.
So when they're flying out of the water, the idea is that they just hit him in the chest and get stuck to the hooks?
Exactly. Yep. And there was
while he's being towed behind a boat.
Yeah. Yep. They were doing a bunch of them. There was one guy that had like a fishing net and he would just like the water skiing and they'd jump out and they'd have to catch him with the net. And one of the guys, dude, was using a sword to like just cut him. And I'm like, you can't do that when you're water skiing. You make one mistake, you just impaled yourself in the dumbest way possible.
Yeah.
Just like, how'd you impale yourself? I thought it'd be a good idea to water ski with a samurai sword. Just like that.
That's such a horrible idea.
Oh my gosh.
Also, just cutting him up and throwing him back into the water is not doing any good. But
no. It's that part wasn't cool. Like you should be actually catching them. Yeah, that's why I was like, everything about it was stupid. You're just killing them to leave them float in the water, and maybe you're not even killing them. Maybe you're just maiming them bad.
Oh, right. Like if you don't actually cut through it, cut it in half or whatever.
Yeah.
Then you just lopped off its tail and now it's just going to keep fucking up the dirt anyway.
And now it's like growing, like healing back weird. So it's got a fungus issue. And now that one jumps out the water next time and hits somebody in the face. You're like, oh, that one was fucking gross.
So do you want to describe like what the fish are doing? Because they're not just jumping out of the water. Like, how do I say this? This isn't angling for the fish and they're jumping out of the water like because they have a hook in their mouth.
No, they get spooked easy. Is what the problem is with the Asian carp. They spook real easy. So that's like when a boat is driving by. It's a lot like a deer in the woods. Like
good one.
Yeah, when they hear a noise, they don't really recognize the direction it's coming from. They're not smart enough. And deer are smarter than Asian carp. So these Asian carp like just hear something in the general area of them. And they freak out. So like a boat will be driving past and it just goes, what the fuck is that? And then it decides to go airborne. because I guess it thinks that that's going to save it. And instead, they're like
Yep.
smashing into stuff. But they're also just like carp in general, just root around and eat a lot of vegetation and stuff. And
Yeah.
they're kind of like not as bad as like lionfish, which is like a invasive species in the ocean.
On the East Coast.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Tony Young's dealing with those all the time. They have derbies down there all the time just to go out and snatch them.
Yeah. Dude, I gotta get that guy on to taco because I really am passionate about getting these invasive species. Anyways, we'll actually get into that. I'll probably get into that a little bit in the second half.
I just want to say, like, they just eat way more than they should, and they're wreaking havoc, and they're not from around here, so they're taking away food sources and structure from other fish where they shouldn't be here. They should be gone. So
yeah, and actually, we've brought on a decent amount of new listeners here in the last few episodes. So if this is your first episode, please go back to episode 16. We go into a lot of the details there. It was what's funny.
In my head, I was just like, "Go back to your own country. You're not welcome here." just so
no, that's a South Park joke, which was our last episode that we did. You can go over and check that out.
I was actually thinking more along the lines of Chappelle's.
Oh, Chappelle, that's Chappelle. Yeah.
Go back to your own country. White power.
That's right. As soon as you said no, I was actually thinking. I went, shit, that was a Chappelle joke. Oh, that was like the joke that made that show.
That I saw what it was. I saw that again, and I forgot the lead up to it, the intro of it, where he says that, like, I showed it to one of my black friends, and he's like, "You just set black people back like 300 years."
And then he's just like, "So here it is."
Yep. So here it is.
Oh. Okay, back to carp. We're not going to do Dave Chappelle yet. That'll be a topic for later. Yep. As you guys, again, if this is your first episode, and thank you, you're welcome. Hopefully you made it through that joke. And if you're a kid who didn't understand early 2000s comedy, get on Netflix and fucking look up the Chappelle Show. I think they got a deal worked out where it's on there again. I haven't looked.
Yes.
But I'm pretty sure they worked out that deal. So that's what we were brought up on, and we're going over to Asian Carp again. Bringing it back. We've made so many half-baked jokes too. God damn it. Focus up, Josh. Focus up. So the Tennessee River, I don't know if that's where those videos were filmed, but it feels like that has sort of been the focus if you paid attention to like invasive carp at all. It seems like this Tennessee area. And it's it says, I might have wrote this down wrong. Fuck, I should look it up. But no, Kentucky and Barkley Lakes are on the Tennessee River. Those are the places where this shit is like going nuts. And one thing we didn't talk about in episode 16 is the carp are targeting plankton. So this is an Outdoor Life ad. Ad. Fucking not an ad. This is an Outdoor Life article. Again, I'll have the link in the YouTube comments. Jesus. Did I even fucking show up for this podcast, or am I just sitting over here fucking talking to myself? What the hell's going on?
It's okay, man.
Save me, Tim. Save me from myself.
My brain is not firing either. Like when you did the opening and you were like, it's the show about random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes. I was like, you supposed to say like random lakes or I was just like, I thought to myself, you were supposed to say random lakes. And then I was like, no, he wasn't. Why would you say random lakes? But like I was having this inner monologue, and then all of a sudden I just like snap back to it, like, oh, hey, we're doing the show here.
It's my turn. Oh, I'm sorry, everybody, especially to you if you're a first time listener. We've been dealing with some sicknesses on our sides of either side of the mic, both of us. I am not down with the sickness, and I would like that last statement retracted. So I'm sorry, but here we go. Here we go. Shake it off. Shake it off. Shake it. You know, no? Okay.
T-Swizzle.
So the carp, they target plankton, and this is where it all comes around to your favorite fishing, shad. So
Oh, yeah.
the carp are targeting the plankton. The shad need the plankton.
Yes.
What eats the shad?
Bass. Bass
Them
love
bass,
shad.
man. Exactly.
A lot of stuff eats shad, depending on the lake. Like the bass is a big one, but
Right.
yeah, like any of the predator fish, they'll eat them. And pike and and walleyes, all sorts of stuff.
Right.
So
and that is like one of the bigger problems. So we talked about how the in episode 16 we talked about how the carp, they rut around and they cause, you know, they stir up a lot of dirt and stuff like this. But this was new to hear that they're targeting, you know, they're going after the plankton and then smaller, you know, the smaller fish that need that, like the ecosystem is used to, like the shad. They're not getting enough plankton, right? Because all the goddamn carp are eating it. And holy shit, here we go. You just go, wow, okay. Yep, that really hits. And not even, I want to say sport fisherman, right? That's what I wanted to say. I wanted to say, oh, that really hits a sport fisherman because, well, bass are a sport fish, right?
Yep.
So, but it hits all of them. It hits all the fish. It hits the walleyes, like you said. It hits the pike. I mean, it's just like, shit, man. When there's that many of them, that's a bitch.
Yeah, well, they call those, like shad are called bait fish for a reason.
Yeah.
And when you're eliminating the food source of the bait fish, eventually, like what are the fish going to eat? They're going to have to resort to like bugs and crayfish, and those are only going to last for so long because you can't, you know, bass can't just go and eat the carp. That doesn't work like that.
Right. Yeah. The carp are bigger than, like, the carp aren't edible to a bass. It's just not.
No.
They're big. They're big. They're bigger than the bass.
They're big. Yeah, they're big ass fish. Yeah, that's not cool. I don't know if they have walleye in Tennessee, but
I'm not sure what's in the Tennessee River either, but we know enough that, like, there's obviously bass down there, so the shad, and that's just the connection that I wanted to make there.
I know that they have Tennessee shad though, because that, like, there's quite a few lures that's a color where it's like really? Tennessee shad.
Oh.
Yep.
Shit. Okay. So they kind of have at least a special shade of shad down there.
Yep.
That's cool. Yeah. Shit. I had no idea. So the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Management, that's what their DNR is called, which the more and more that I get into this fishing thing, the more and more I'm like, damn, every state has a different name for their wildlife management system. It's crazy.
We'll have to do a deep dive in that and see if we can find one that's just like fucking out there.
I'll just look up all 50 states. It's like, oh man, that's a lot of research. Anyways, so they've been tracking the problem for over 10 years. So it's not that the carp have been a problem for 10 years. It's that is sort of when the tracking has really started, you know.
Yeah.
Like in the last 10 years, they've been paying real close attention. Probably because dudes are putting shit up on the internet where they're wearing flak jackets with hooks on it.
Right.
And they're like, oh shit, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
Every time I look up a fishing GIF, there's always one of a dude getting hit in the face with a fucking carp as he's driving a boat. He's just driving a boat. And then
Yep. They're just driving a boat and boom. Yep. They get knocked out.
Just gets fucking
get knocked out because they're heavy fish.
Yeah, for real. So so they've been tracking the problem for like 10 years, right? And they've obviously known that it's a problem, but they've been keeping a close eye on it in the last 10 years. In 2018, they harvested, since 2018, They have harvested 10 million pounds of carp. 10, yes, I'll say that again. 10 million pounds since 2018, dude.
What do you do with them?
Right?
That's so much.
Isn't that crazy to think
million.
about? It's 2020 right now. It's 2021 right now, and that was 2018.
Yeah, that's
3 years, dude. 10 million pounds. It's crazy to think about, and this is still a problem. That's the commercial fishermen of Tennessee are harvesting that much in 3 years. 10 million pounds in 3 years. And it's mostly fertilizer and pet food, which we kind of talked about in episode 16 is like, you've always heard, I think you mentioned, right, that carp are mostly fertilizer. Like if you're going out fishing and you catch a carp, or if you go out and catch carp, you've always just heard, I don't know, it's good fertilizer.
Right. Yep. Yeah, that's what they encourage you to, use them.
Right.
And
Instead
they know
of,
people
like
don't
you
want
said about that one guy cutting in half. Like, don't just fucking cut it in
Yep.
half.
And they know people don't want to eat them, so they're like, I don't know, I can put them in your garden or whatever. Like,
right. Throw it in the ground. Let it decay.
that's such a big. I was trying to look. I just put in an average to try to figure out what the average is. And it goes, they're 4.4 to 31 pounds. Like, that's not an average. That's a giant spread. Like, do you guys know what average means? Also, I started laughing because I got in average weight of Asian, and then it auto-populated to woman. Like,
yeah, of course it did.
Who's Googling that?
Dude?
They're just like,
What
hey,
is wrong? Why?
What's the average weight of an Asian woman? Like, what the fuck?
Who
cares?
Is looking that up? What is wrong with you?
Not like all women. Like, if you're talking slender, not much. That's good enough,
right.
isn't it? You really need to know the amount.
Right. Like, what is? Oh my. People, you spend too much fucking time on the internet. Hopefully, you're just spending a lot of time listening to fishing podcasts.
I was gonna do the math to try to get an idea of how many fish that was, but I'm gonna give up here now because I see another thing that says Asian carp as an adult. This brute can grow up to 4 feet in length and weigh over 100 pounds. I've never seen one that big. Could you imagine getting smacked in the face by one of those?
No.
It's like a small Asian woman flying out of the water at you.
Water.
It's like a small Asian woman flying out of the water at you. Oh man.
What the hell, dude?
Dude, that would kill you probably.
Oh, 100%. But how? You've seen 100-pound catfish. How would that leave the water? How does a 7.5-pound carp leave the water though? At the same time,
they just get going, man. I don't know.
How
does a whale jump out of the water? Big fish can get airborne.
Good point. A whale's not a fish.
I know, that's true. Whale shark can't jump out of the water. I was gonna say whale shark, but then I immediately retracted that. Just like they don't.
But great whites breach all the time.
Oh, they get airborne.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. So, anyways, the wildlife management systems across the United States are trying different things, and I just wanted to point those out because they have these what they call bioacoustic fish fences.
Yes.
They call them BAFF.
BAFF. Yeah, I know about it, man.
You know what a BAFF is? Fucking hit me with it, dude.
It's like an electric fence almost.
Yeah. That's what it said.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. They're just like, we put up an electric fence for the carp and just bam.
You got BAFF, motherfucker.
Yeah, what up, bitch?
Take this, BAFF. Yeah. So it was crazy to read, but yeah, they have these fences up. They basically put up electric fences to try to keep them going from upstream. To try to keep them a little bit more contained, kind of.
And they say it's so nice.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Well, like how you said it was just like, hey, it's a electrified acoustic fence or whatever. It sounds like
Yeah.
wholesome, and they're just like, no, we shock the shit out of them if they try to go upstream.
We fuck them up.
I saw some of those though, where the Asian
Yeah.
carp were clearing them.
Oh yeah, like it flat out said in the article. They're like, well, I mean, no deterrent is ever 100%. It's like there, I mean, there's going to be fish that figure it out. That's all there
Right.
is to it. We're just
Yeah.
doing our damnedest to try to keep it from being as explosive as it is in this, in the Kentucky or in the Tennessee River area, just because of the fact that it's such an explosion there that they're just trying anything they can to at least keep it contained, because if you can keep it contained and keep fishing it the way that they are, maybe
Yep.
there's a chance.
Yep.
Maybe there's a chance. And the fucked up thing, dude, is US Fish and Wildlife Services said the carp was brought here into farms in the 60s and 70s. Now, I actually watched this video on the Meat Eater YouTube channel.
Oh yeah.
The Meat Eater.
Yep.
Yep. So, on the Meat Eater YouTube channel, they did a thing about carps and eating carp and stuff like that, and they went way back. Like they had a history lesson on it, and I said, "Okay, that's cool," but I literally just looked up the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services, and it says they were brought here in the 60s and 70s to farm. And then that's where the catch was. These guys went all the way back to like 1800s, and like where people were eating them for food. Like they were here. People were eating them. And I was just like, okay, they're talking about carp in general. There was a very generalization, right?
Yeah.
So this U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services was tied to this Asian carp article, so they had to be talking specifically about the Asian carp.
Right. Yeah.
And saying they brought it to farms in the 60s and 70s, and it got loose, and now here we are in the 2020s, and it's fucking running crazy.
And I think technically all carp are invasive.
I don't think all carp are invasive.
I think they might be. I think the common carp, like we could check it out, but I don't think they're from here.
Okay, we're gonna definitely do a full carp episode, because this shit has got me super, super intrigued. Like I said before, I was already interested in invasive species and things like that before this, but now here we are. So we got to do a carp episode, like a full on carp ep. Last thing I wanted to point out that this article said is the University of Missouri is working on studying egg movements. And I was like, holy shit, egg movement. That is crazy, dude. How do you study fish egg movement? Because think about it, they're river fish.
Yeah.
So if they this shit can just roll through the water, just ride the currents. And it's like, oh, fuck. How do you trace that?
I don't know how river fish work, man. That's crazy. I was already thinking,
just think about, okay, so you've had
how they even fertilize. Like, you just have like the eggs get fertilized, and then they're just like, whatever, hatch when you hatch,
right? And then they float downstream and hatch. Like, I mean, so it's great. It's great work, because you have to. They said basically that the University of Missouri is like, yeah, I mean, you can do everything you can to stop the ones that are adults, but that's not how you contain a outbreak. Like you have to catch it before it's even born. Yeah. And that's why we're doing this research. And I was like, oh yeah, shit, good point, man. That's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. But like you said, like if it's, I don't even know. If it's just like they have their eggs and the eggs just wash down.
Right.
What do you do?
I don't know, but thankfully the University of Missouri is working on it. So I think we'll find out in a few years. I'll try to, this is a topic I actually care quite a bit about in like, I like to keep up with it for sure. I think it's crazy. I love the thought of going down and fishing the shit out of them, even if it's with a vest with hooks on it, and like trying to figure out what to do with the fish once you have it. I think it's I don't know. I think it's fucking cool. So it's not going to be a topic I'm going to lose track of. I don't think in the future. So we'll definitely do our best to circle back on Missouri in a few
Yeah.
years because it'll be cool. I mean, it'll be cool to just find out what they find out,
Circle back.
figure out what they find out. Let's go into something a little bit more local here in Minnesota. The Quality Sunfish Initiative. I didn't write that. Just so you know. That's just a cool thing.
Quality Sunfish Initiative.
Yeah. That's actually from the DNR. They have a Quality Sunfish Initiative. The Minnesota DNR does. It's a real thing. Yeah. If you go to I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it's called it just is like sunfish. Like the DNR/sunfish. You're like, "Oh, okay." So, I guess the internet talks a lot. Who knew?
Right. Mm.
And the DNR has been paying attention, and they have been noticing that the internet says a lot about how sunnies are super small now. What is your experience with that, with panfish? I know you have a lake that you primarily fish, but
yeah,
just give me, because you fish a lot more than I do. What is your actual experience? Because this is just the internet talking.
I catch some big ass sunfish still, man. I don't know, like maybe you're not using the right kinds of baits. Maybe you're fishing from shore and you're like, I remember catching bigger ones, and it's like, well, let's think about it this way. It's been a pretty hot summer. Hot summer means hotter water temperatures. Hot water temperatures means that the fish go deeper. Big sunfish are out in 15 feet of water, and that's why you're only catching small ones.
Right. Sure.
I caught a big ass sunfish just last week, and we were catching big ones off the dock and in deep water. And I catch big ones in other lakes. I do fish other lakes sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, maybe I'm not catching like monstrous tanks. So I don't know if like there's some people out there like, we just don't catch 2-pounders anymore. I'm like, well, I've never caught a 2-pounder, so I don't know.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I mean, I don't do a lot of fishing, but I haven't necessarily had my like shortcomings when it comes to getting panfish and finding edible panfish. But you know, there's not a lot of, well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know where the DNR is getting this, but obviously they're seeing it enough that they're hearing from Minnesotans that the sunnies are small. So they're trying to take action on that, and good on them. Like that's what the DNR is for. In March of 2021, nearly 100 lakes got new limits. The DNR wants anglers to participate in the conversation about adding 50 more to that list. So we're talking about from in March of this year, there were already 100 lakes that got their limits changed. And they're talking now about adding 50 more lakes to the list that would go in effect in March of 2022. So for the listeners who don't necessarily get why March would be the time that would start in Minnesota, Tim, can you explain the reasoning behind that?
So they're saying that March is when
when the new like law would go into effect, so to say, I guess.
I don't know,
because our fishing fucking licenses expire at the end of February.
Right. So I'm
it's
guessing
like the new year.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that that's what it is. Is that it's just like
right?
When the new fishing, yeah, because the sunfish spawn later than most of the other stuff. So sunfish spawn like mid to late May, I think, normally. So it's got to be just like that's when the new regulations like would take effect. That they're like, panfish, like our license expire then, but there's no season on
Mm-hmm.
panfish, you can catch those whenever.
Right. Right.
So yeah, it's
Right.
just got to be like this is just when new laws take effect.
Yeah. That's totally what I think. And also, ice, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's the changing of the seasons for us
Hmm.
here in Minnesota too, right? Wouldn't you say that?
Yep. Yeah, that's like when you have to get your permanents off the lake and stuff. Like you can still go fish, but they're like no axle houses or wheel houses, is what they call them,
Mm-hmm.
where they're
Yep.
like the permanent structure where you have to pull it out in the truck because they're like, any day now, the shit could like the sun could come out and then you're fucked. Because what you don't have to worry about, if you guys don't know about the
Fuck.
ice, is like you don't have to worry about the ice melting right away. What you have to worry about is that the ice melts around the edge of the lake first. And
Mm-hmm.
then all of a sudden there's not solid ice for you to drive out because there's not ice out there. And now you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
pull your wheelhouse out, and depending on how
And there's
fast
just
that lake,
open water
yeah,
like
and depending
between
on
you
how
and the
fast,
land.
right, and depending on how fast that lake drops off,
Right.
now all of a sudden you got like 4 feet of water you're trying to drive out of, and it's like that's not gonna fucking work. It's gonna go
Right.
poorly.
It's not going to work out for you, just so
Yep.
you know.
And then that's more shit that the DNR has to deal with. They're like, God damn it. So they eventually got to a point where they're just like, hey, everybody get your ice houses off the ice. It's a law
Get your
now.
shit off before it
Get
fucking
out
goes
of
away.
here, you idiots. They're like, this is still like 2 feet of ice. Not around the outside, stupid. Get off the ice.
Get out of here. There were some new crappie limits that went into effect too. And I know you've been catching crappies. If you follow us, look up Real AF TV on Instagram.
Yeah.
There are pictures of you hitting the crappies. So
Yep.
you've been hitting the crappies good. You've been getting good eaters and stuff like that. Did
Big
you
ass
get
crappies.
affected by this limit change at all?
Nah, they changed the limit a while ago
Ah,
to where it was like it used to be 15 and then it went down to 10.
hmm.
And I don't know what it is now, but we never keep that many. There'll be
Okay.
like 3 of us in a boat and
Sure.
we're never in the like realm of like 30 fish. Just
Right.
just because, like it's just not that hot and heavy normally. Like maybe,
Okay.
but like
Mm-hmm.
that's 30 is a lot.
I was gonna say, do you even need 30 fish
You
to
don't.
feed
No,
like the people
because
that you're catching fish with? Like,
if you're catching good
no.
ones, that's
Mm-hmm.
60 fillets, and you're talking like 60
Jesus.
pieces of meat that are like, if you're catching good sized crappies, like that's 50
Yeah,
or
you're talking like
60. If you caught
yeah.
your limit with 3 people, you're talking 60 fillets that are like the I don't know, a piece of meat that's like the size of a deck of cards on each one of them.
Right.
It was like nobody needs that. I
No, you
mean,
don't
unless you're
need
trying
that
to
much
have
meat.
it depends on how many people you're trying to feed. But one
Yeah.
person, like a limit per person, is far more fish than that person would need.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not eating 20 fillets by myself. That's crazy.
Right. Right. And if you're the kind of fisher who is out there catching so much fish, so many crappies, you're out there trying to catch your daily limit because you're like freezing them in the freezer or something like that, please, you should contact us. That's realaftv/contact.
Also, that's not technically illegal.
Whoa.
You're not supposed to, like, you can catch
Oh, wait a minute.
like, if you caught your limit
Is it
and you
because
put it,
possession?
yes, right.
Your freezer is part of your possession, isn't it?
Yes.
Fuck me. See,
But
this is why you're the fisherman.
But that's where it like
That's why we
gets in.
got you.
That's where it gets a little bit tricky sometimes. Because
Sure.
I like at the cabin, like if a DNR person came over and they're like, "You have like 6 limits in here," and I'm like,
Right.
"Yeah," because normally it's me, my wife, my mom, my dad, my nephew. Like it's
Right.
just
Like we're all eating
like
fish.
we're all
Like,
here. We can have that many limits because that's how many people we had catching
Ooh.
the fish then.
Right. Right.
But then you got like some single loner. It's just like, oh yeah, I got.
Yep.
Whatever. I got.
Mhm. got 60 fillets in my freezer, and it's just like, no, you're just one dude.
I got 3 cats, man. They help me.
They got fishing lessons too. Yeah.
They don't need
I
fishing
would
license
like
because they're under 16. It's okay.
That's awesome. If anybody has any like different experiences with that, I would love to hear it. Seriously, hit us up. reelaf.tv/contact. You can just send it in through there. I'd like to hear from you and hear more, but I'm just going like, yeah, you can probably change the crappie limit to 10. We'll be fine. But that also brings me to this part of it is you said you went to 10, but now they're talking about going down to 5. So they want to get the lakes with potential to go to 5 or 10. So you were probably already part of that, but as low as 5. And it could be up to, and they're trying to, this is what the Quality Sunfish Initiative has forecast for its future, is they want to get up to 200 lakes on this program by 2032. Fuck, did I write that down wrong too? I got to relook that up. Please, Tim, fill time with the 5 to 10 bag limit while I double check my
Well, I'd be okay with, I'm fine with it. Like, if you want to go from 10 to 5, that's not that big of a deal to me. Like,
okay.
When it is a little bit weird that, years ago, 3 of us could catch 15 a person. Now 3 of us is 15 is the full limit for all 3 of us.
Is the full limit. Good point.
But also, like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, if I want to eat some fish, me personally, I kind of enjoy the idea of just being like, you can only have this many of this kind of fish, and then I catch that limit, and then I go, well, on to the next kind of fish.
Yeah.
Like, I caught my crappie limit, now it's time to go catch the walleyes or whatever.
Right.
Whichever way I want to go. But you can catch your limit on walleyes, and fuck, you don't even need any of the other fish. If I
you
can
have
catch
enough food if you catch your walleye limit.
If I can catch 5 walleye, boom. If you
get a week or more worth of food.
That's crazy though to think about. That walleye and panfish
and sunnies could be on the same level.
Yeah. That's
holy
weird.
Shit, dude. That is really weird to think about. Yes,
okay,
we covet the walleye here in Minnesota, but shit.
Sunnies are so much easier to catch than walleyes.
Well, and from everything that I know, and we'll have to do full episodes on this. We'll be doing a full episode on sunfish too. They're faster at breeding. Like you get more sunnies per season per. Fuck, I can't think of the name right now. Tim,
spawn
me out. Spawn. Thank you. You get more sunnies per spawn than you do walleye.
Yeah.
I could be talking out of my ass right now, but it seems like that's the case.
Well, I think there's a better chance of them. I think there's just more sunfish in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's just greater numbers already. So when you spawn, there's more of them spawning.
There's just more of them. Yeah, sure. Yeah. And this is all about increasing size. I mean, when I read about it, it was just like basically like, hey, the sunfish are getting small, so we want to get them bigger. How we do that? Oh, we'll just put limits down to think about. And it is, they want to get 200 lakes by 2023. So that's I mean, if you think about it, that's next year already, because we're going into the winter season here of 2020. We're in the back half of the 2021 fishing season already.
Yep.
And they're talking about putting 200 lakes on the 5 to 10 daily bag limit for sunnies. And it's like, holy shit. When you put that comparison against a walleye, man, that was nuts. Like I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Well, when you think about it, like, I've never heard of them ever stocking anything besides like walleyes and muskies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose, goddamn motherfucking fruit fly. buzzing around my fucking shit.
Tim
Fucking
is now
pissing me
distracted
off.
by a fruit fly. He
Is one
swinging
fruit fly
into
that
the
keeps
air.
buzzing my goddamn head and then landed on my microphone.
It's gonna
Piece
hit the
of
mute button
shit.
on you in the
Oh,
middle of a very compelling conversation.
I don't know what that was, but yeah, no, it's like I've never heard of them stalking them. So I guess if you
Sure,
kind of like
sure,
catch too many of them, I don't think there's anything set up for them to stalk. You know, like
sure.
walleyes they have like their little farm or whatever where they're, breeding them to make it so they can stock your lake or whatever. So that's where you get all your fingerlings and stuff. They're like
Mm-hmm.
literally hatching these in I don't know what the fuck you call
A
them.
farm. Just
Yeah, a farm,
yeah,
fish farm.
sure.
And
Fish
yeah,
farm. And then they let him go. Sure.
yep. But I've never heard
Yeah.
of them stock any sunfish. I mean, like, I suppose on different ponds or whatever when you just get started out, but they don't
Mm-hmm.
stock your lake that's already established. But they
Right.
will with like walleyes and muskies.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a really good point. So, hey, if you're out there and you're from Minnesota and you want to get in on the conversation, there will be a link in the YouTube description. And if you're listening to this on Spotify or Google Play or iTunes or something like that, just go over to YouTube quick and you can look us up, Real AF TV, Real with two E's, and you can find the link and it'll shoot you over to the DNR site. And there's online survey. They also encourage you to go to a fisheries office or, talk to a DNR officer about this situation. They're seriously asking for people to comment and try to figure out, do we need these 50 more lakes? Do we need to be up to 200 lakes by 2023? It's like a real discussion. The DNR is actually asking for it. So just encourage you to go and if you are from Minnesota, look it up if you care about this. And we'll have the link for you because what's 150, 200 lakes out of 10,000?
Right.
Restrict them. You guys need bigger fish? Fucking let them do it.
Yep. I don't mind it at all. If they think that it'll help, then that's what I'm down with. Let's do it.
Yeah. But if you have an opposing idea, please look us up, REELAF TV, on all the social medias and stuff like that. We are down to talk about it because I am very curious about why you wouldn't. What is the problem? Because right now we don't see it. And maybe that's a privileged standpoint where we're just like, well, we don't have to catch 10 fish a day to eat. I like Culvers just fine.
Right.
All right, man. Let's get into the random take where we're going to talk about just crazy shit the internet has fed us. That's it. That's the best setup I got. We're just going to talk about crazy shit the internet fed us. Coming up next in the random take.
That's crazy train.
Welcome back to the Real AF TV podcast, the show about fishing random takes from land 10,000 lakes. We are in the random take part, Tim, and we're going to talk about the crazy shit the internet fed us today.
Yeah.
Not today. I mean, that's what we're going to talk about today, but we're just going to talk about crazy shit the internet fed us. We were talking about fishing, and that is always what the first half is. In case you are listening to this on Friday, when we drop the random take on our off week. In case you didn't know, the podcast comes out every other Monday. And on our off week, we drop the fishing topic on Wednesday and we drop the random take on Friday. And then the next Monday, bam, new podcast. So if you don't like listening to us as a whole, it's broken up for you over there on youtube.com.
Yep.
Look us up.
Look it up.
So, Tim, we were talking about fishing, and I had this crazy shit brought to me from the Meat Eater channel, which I mentioned in the first one because we were talking about carp, and they have this. And I'm going to put a link to this specific video that I'm going to reference in the YouTube comments. So look us up on YouTube, subscribe, and all that shit, and find the link. because we were talking about carp. They have this new series on the Meat Eater channel, and it's called Pardon My Plate. And
Okay.
they had carp on there. So they're eating things that Americans don't normally eat, but why wouldn't you? Sort of situation.
Sure.
So I'm watching the carp one, of course, because I'm very interested in it, and as you will find, you could hear in the first podcast or in the first half. And then coyote comes up. These motherfuckers are eating coyote.
Hmm.
Yeah. So first of all, before we really get into it, before we get into my crazy thing, I just want to know how you feel about that. Like eating coyote.
I'd do it.
Yeah.
I would do it for sure.
Yeah. I would totally do it. It's
Yeah.
freaky to see. Like I've seen a dressed coyote before on Bizarre Foods.
Yeah.
The show with Andrew Zimmer.
Ouch. Yeah.
Fellow Minnesotan now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild to see. But on that episode of the Meat Eater show called Pardon My Plate,
Yep.
he says coyotes are despised by Americans. And he goes into like things that kill humans, right? And
Yeah.
he says 2 humans have ever been killed by coyotes in modern history. That is far less than the 20,000 humans that are killed per year by snails.
By snails. I honestly would have been like, what is
What
the
the
number?
fuck?
0 of being killed by coyotes? They're not very big
2
dogs.
people in modern history, dude. It's like it was like an 81 and like 2018 are the only 2 records that have ever
Really?
been shown to kill.
Like just real recent.
Mm-hmm.
Just
like a few years ago,
not
like a
back in the day
19-year-old.
when there was like a giant pack of dogs and they had like they couldn't reload their musket fast enough. They're like modern day with all the technology we have. They're just like couldn't get away from those small wolves.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that they're like they can be vicious and stuff, but it's still like
Sure.
That's why like
the fact that it's been 2 people recently, right? It just blows your mind. You're like, okay, so 81 and 2018. Holy shit.
Yeah, what 2018? I'm sure there were more.
I'm not 100% on the 2018 number. Like I didn't write that down, but it's like really that's recent.
That's still insane though. But snails, I knew that snails killed people.
Really?
Because I've heard the stories before of where they like a kid will like bet another kid. Like, I dare you to pick up that snail, and then the kid will be like, whatever. And then like let it crawl on their arms or whatever, and that kid dies.
What?
Because the snail just crawls on you or whatever. Yeah, whatever
what the hell
it is.
Are you talking about, man?
I don't know if it's like a toxin or if it's a bacteria or what, but yeah, that's how people die from snails is because there's certain ones that like, yeah, that was a toxic snail that you had crawl on you.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's not like the.
I looked this up. I did some extra research because I was like, bullshit. But these guys do their research.
Yeah.
They have a whole network. Like the Meat Eater is a whole network.
Yeah.
They have to be built on truth. They have to have done their research. And so I did research and I found out, oh yeah, those guys are looking at WHO data, the World Health Organization data, because basically the World Health Organization says we need to do some work on that number because we said it was like 200,000. That was extrapolated data. So it's anywhere from 20,000 to 200,000. So Meat Eater saw that and said like snails kill up to 20,000 people per year. And so again, the WHO was just admittedly like, hey, we need to do more research into this, but like, hey, we can tell you for sure that like 20,000.
Yeah.
We extrapolated the data. Oops, let's do more research on it. So that's where they got their number from. And so I was just like, holy shit, this is wild. Now, I've never heard of, I did a little bit of research, but I didn't hear what you just brought up. It's like, wait a minute. That's a thing?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I heard. I can't remember where I heard it from, but yeah,
The internet.
it was like a tale of where some kid bet the other kid to like pick up the snail, and then that
Mhm.
kid was like, "Hey, yeah, look, it's like crawling on my arm," and then that kid died because don't
What the
let the
fuck,
fucking
dude?
snail crawl on your
Because
arm.
don't let
So
the fucking snail crawl on you. Which has to be rare, I would think. I don't know, but I don't know for sure because
I don't know how all
depends
those
on where the
20.
snail was and all
Yeah,
that stuff. But like escargot,
right,
unless it would cook off, unless it is bacteria, like you said, bacteria is usually easily cooked off. That's fucking wild, man. I didn't hear
right.
any of that, but I totally believe it because I did I did do some research, and CBS News is where I finally like I looked around because of course you Google like how many people die and you get all these people just talking too much
Yeah,
around the internet. So you have
yeah.
to find a real like news source. And I found a news source that said freshwater snails 4,400 people a year. 4,400 people a year. Freshwater snails take them down because of a parasite.
Yeah,
So it's
see,
not
that's what I was.
necessarily yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like a parasite, or like that's why I don't know if it's a parasite or a toxin or whatever, but that's got to be
Mhm.
what it is because I don't think eating it counts. Because if you
Right.
ate it and it wasn't cooked properly, that's not the snail killing you. That's food poisoning is then the culprit. So this is
Ah.
literally people dying
Mhm.
from the
From
snails
the snail.
being on them themselves.
Right, right. And actually not even being on them necessarily. This is the crazy shit that I saw is the transmit the parasite called oh shit. I didn't look this up. And I even said when I was doing this research, I'm like, I'm not gonna look this fucker up. This is a weird word. Ah, I'm just gonna spell it. SCHISTOSOMIASIS.
Jesus, give it your best shot.
Schistosomyiasis.
Is that in the doc?
Yes. Yes, it's
I
in the
gotta
doc,
see.
all the way at
I
the
got
bottom.
I gotta try
So
it.
this parasite is called schistomoyosis, and it leaches into the water. So these are freshwater snails. So I'm just saying to your story, if it was a snail by the water, it probably has schistomoyosis. And I want you to try once you get the doc open. But it says that leaches into the water. You don't even have to touch the snail. Now, I'm not like saying anything other than what the article said, but is not in North America. It does not appear to be in South America. This seems to be Africa and Asia parasite. So don't just go like freaking out over every
Right.
snail you see
Yep. And that's one thing
here
that
to our North American listeners.
yeah,
Don't just
that's
don't go tripping out, right?
that's one
Okay.
thing I heard too is like it's not the death that I heard about was not in our general area. I can't remember exactly
Mhm.
where it was, but it wasn't
Mhm.
like anything us in the middle of the country had to worry about.
Right, right, exactly. And that's the back to the first half of when we were talking about carp and stuff like that is like this is how invasive species can become even more of a problem, right? Now, for all we know, this parasite can't live in our climate. I didn't research the damn thing because the story is about snails kill more humans than coyotes. Why would anybody think that this tiny wolf would be less deadly than a snail? That blew
Dude,
my
yeah,
fucking
because
mind, dude.
it's still they're pack animals. Like you'd think that definitely
They can
coyotes
be pack
could
animals. They're not necessarily pack animals.
oh sure, but like I'm saying,
I know what you mean, though.
like if they're gonna kill somebody, that's how they're
Right.
gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably not gonna be a one on one because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I remember back in the day that there was a couple of times we were out and about and people at parties or whatever, we'd be out in like the woods or cornfield or whatever, but somebody try to scare you. Oh, there's a coyote coming. Like, I'd kick the shit out of that little
I'll
dog.
kick the fuck out of that little dog.
I'm
Yeah,
not
for sure.
nervous about it. Like, what's he gonna do?
No.
Bite me? I kick him.
As long as
It's
that
not
thing
gonna
ain't
feel.
foaming at the mouth, I'm
Yeah,
booting that thing right in the schnoz.
yeah. It's not gonna feel good if I get bit,
Nope.
but
Nope.
it's not. It's gonna.
But it's not surviving either.
That dog is gonna walk away way worse than I am. I guarantee you that. As long as he doesn't get my neck, he's fucking dead.
Yep.
I'm gonna stomp that little fucker. You here? Ready? I think I got it.
Okay, so are you going on and you promise you didn't Google this shit to look it up?
How you say it?
Yeah.
Nope. So I think it's schistoso. I can't. That was schistosomiasis.
Yep.
That's
way
how
better.
I'm gonna say it. Schistosomiasis.
And that's the parasite that is killing humans, that is causing snails to kill humans.
Yep. And it's killed enough of them that pretty soon there's going to be an infomercial at 2 o'clock in the morning. Have you or a loved one been affected by schistosomiasis? Just like, call this number.
Call this number now.
You may be entitled to a large lump sum or whatever they say on that
shit. We're suing the pants off those snails.
Yeah, those snails are going to get it.
So before we switch over to what you said, I want to point out one thing is you just Google. So of course, you know, it was like our last episode where I was like, so I Googled fishing rod and,
right.
you know, I'm trying to buy a new fishing rod. I Google
word
fishing rod. So I Google human dead snail, basically humans killed by snails, right? Like that's what and you get a Nat Geo article or I get a Nat Geo video. And it's basically it's one of those like over the top dramatic ones. I'm not shitting on Nat Geo because I watch a lot of Nat Geo. I think they do some good programming. I also think that about history, but I also think they do a lot of shitty stuff. Like fucking
right, they do.
Alien, fucking ancient aliens. Get out of here, you fucking assholes. So you get this Nat Geo video and one of those over dramatic videos, and it's like the cone snail from Southeast Asia is a water snail. And it eats fish because it's venomous. Fucking huge music, right?
Right.
And you're like, come on, Nat Geo, Jesus Christ. I remember watching videos of lions fucking, and that was it. And they were like, so now the lions mate. And then there's like 3 minutes of silence other than
just
lions humping.
Yeah, the lion. It's like lion groans. You're just like, oh man, they're getting it. But yeah, now they have like all the music and trying to make it amped up and stuff.
Yeah, and you get the cone snail from Southeast Asia, and it's venomous. It has its venom is venomous enough to kill a human. And you keep. I'm like, cool. Cone snails. Cone snails are killing. So I start researching cone snails. Cone snails killing humans, and I keep getting the same fucking video fed to me. And it turns out cone snails aren't killing humans.
They're just they can.
Fish.
They could if they wanted to, but they don't. But
they're not right.
But what if?
Exactly, dude. Exactly. And then you start doing research and you realize it's a parasite that lives on these snails, that lives on freshwater snails. That's what's killing humans.
Yep. Fuck. Damn it.
Now I know my sources don't match the 20,000 and the 440 or the 4,400 as far as people, but still, like, that's still a lot, dude. You can prove 2 people have died in modern history from coyotes, and I found thousands of people dying from snails.
We weren't wrong. You stomped the shit out of one of those little fuckers.
Yeah. Have you ever seen? If you've never seen a coyote in real life, you charge that thing.
Yeah,
don't be afraid.
Like, they are slightly bigger than a fox. Like, there's not much difference. And they're
little black labs, little yellow lab. A little yellow lab is
Yeah.
the same size as a big one.
Smaller even, almost.
Oh,
Most
yeah.
of the time. They have like a
Yeah.
more slender body. And
Yeah,
they
because they're
seem to be
skinny.
like
Mhm.
scared too easy.
Mhm.
They just kind
Mhm.
of make
Yeah, they
like
are pretty
weird
skittish.
noises
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
and they just run away and you're like, all right, later.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they tell you to they tell you be as big as you can and make as much noise as you can if you see a bear.
Yeah. Well, black bear.
Y
Make sure
Black
people
bears,
know.
right.
Yeah, make sure people know which ones. Don't do that shit to a
My bad.
grizzly.
Yeah, don't take on a polar bear. Polar bears actually hunt and eat humans, so
Oh yeah,
don't
polar
fuck
bear
with
will.
them.
Yeah, polar bear. You got nothing. There's nothing you can do. Polar
You're
bear are
fucked.
massive, and you are fucked if you run into one of those. Grizzlies, you don't have much of a chance either. You got to play dead with a
Nope.
grizzly. But a black
It
bear,
might leave
get
you
big.
alone.
Black bear is like black bears. Just Google black bear and human encounters on YouTube. I see funny stuff where like a guy's sleeping by his pool and a black bear comes over and like wakes him up. And he's kind of just curious. He's like, "What's going on here?" And like sniffs the dude's like foot and actually
What
like
the
puts his
fuck?
paw up and like touches the guy's foot. The guy wakes up and he's like, "Oh, a bear!" And the bear's like, "Oh fuck, he's alive!" And like runs away.
And runs
both
away.
of
Like,
them,
"Oh,
both
shit."
of them are both of them are like, "Oh Jesus!" They scare each other. It's awesome. You don't have to worry about black bear too much. I mean, it's like they can still hurt you,
Oh,
but a
yeah.
black
It's a big
bear
animal.
is not something you have to worry about most of the time. If it has cubs, that's a different situation. But before we go off on
Definitely.
too much of a rant, let's just
I'm
act like you're big with the black bear, grizzly bear, play dead, but do your best to avoid bear encounters.
Yes, yes, exactly. So that was my wild thing. I'm guessing the crazy shit that the internet taught you is not black bears walk up to you while you're sleeping by the pool.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
Okay. Okay.
So I got a couple of things just kind of randomly because I was like, I don't know how long we're gonna be able to go on some of this stuff. So, but I was trying to keep it with the fish a little bit.
Yeah. Nice.
And did you know that the majority of fish that is sold in supermarkets, and I can't say that it's around here. I don't know where the sample size is. I think they're talking about the majority of the world
Okay.
here.
Okay.
But
Mhm.
most of it is mislabeled. The majority of it
What?
is you're not getting
No.
what you're trying to buy.
No.
Yeah, it says that
Don't
the
you fucking
salmon
tell me that, dude.
that salmon is probably not salmon, which
It's
salmon
probably
is easy to
steelhead.
tell. Not well, salmon. Steelhead is salmon. That's just a
Is
different
it?
kind of salmon.
I thought steelhead trout. Isn't it steelhead
Oh no,
trout?
wait, you're right. Steelhead trout, salmon. I forget.
Yeah,
It
I have
doesn't matter,
steelhead
but
trout and salmon.
but
This is
salmon.
literally a topic. Sorry, I'm taking away
Oh
from your thunder. My bad.
no, it's
Please
okay.
keep going.
Salmon, but salmon is kind of easier to tell, and like the farm salmon, they actually have to like dye the color because it doesn't change the
Oh
right
yeah,
color and stuff because
I think
of
you
their
said that in a
diet. It's
very
like
very
yeah,
early.
it's like a flamingo. Like the natural ones, their diet is what causes the meat to be that color. But check this out. So researchers estimate that about one third of all fish sold in restaurants and grocery stores is
Oh,
mislabeled,
what the
often to
fuck,
deliberately
dude?
mislead consumers and get them to buy more expensive fish, getting tilapia while paying red snapper prices. Snapper
What?
was found to be mislabeled 87% of the time. Tuna was
Oh,
mislabeled 59% of the time.
what?
It says it's far too common to be for this
Oh
occurrence
my
to be a
god,
fluke. But
it's not a fluke.
87% of the time,
What the
red
fuck?
snapper is almost never red snapper.
What?
That's why you should try to buy it, the whole fish, like from a seafood market, because then you know,
Yeah, dude, with the
like I can
head
see
on.
it. Yeah, I can see that
Yeah.
that's the fish I want. Or
Oh
just go catch it
god.
yourself.
Or yeah, right, right. If you have the ability to go catch it, just fucking go catch it
Yeah.
for sure. Because
Salmon, I
that,
don't think. Yeah, salmon,
dude.
I don't think you could fuck with me on because I eat enough of it. I mean, there's not other fish that taste like salmon. And if there are,
Mhm.
let me know, because salmon's
Yeah.
awesome, and
Hit us
it
up.
just
Let us
doesn't.
know what else tastes
Yeah,
like
it
salmon
just
because
doesn't
salmon's
like
fucking dope.
if you could give me something that's tastes like salmon and I don't know the difference, I don't even give a shit. Whatever. Why are you calling it salmon still? Call it whatever the fuck that other thing is and let me know how cool it is. Like I'm down. I'm down for that.
I can't believe it's that high. Like you
Dude,
said
yeah.
tuna You said tuna at over 50%, and that blew
Yeah.
my fucking mind. To say 80 some I would have guessed 50 some percent was the highest.
Tuna like makes sense to me though,
80.
even like with it mislabeled or whatever. Like if you're talking like actual tuna fillets, that would be a little bit harder to pull off. But like if you're talking
Yeah,
like
they gotta
canned
be talking
tuna,
about the
like
white tuna, right?
yeah, or like the canned tuna, like whatever. They're
Yeah,
like
who
that's
gives a
not really
shit? I'm
tuna.
buying white flesh like
Yeah,
that. I
yeah,
don't
that's
give a
like the
fuck.
seafood. That's like the Subway thing. People are like, you know that their seafood sub isn't really tuna. Like, I don't give a fuck. It tastes good.
Yeah, tastes like tastes
Like
like
yeah,
fucking tuna,
I
like,
don't.
tastes like the canned tuna in
Yeah,
tuna,
does
fine, put it
yeah,
in quotes.
right,
I don't give a shit.
right.
Tastes like
And
fish.
now reading this, was it even Subway's fault? Did they were they buying what they thought was tuna the whole time?
Right.
They're
Good
like,
fucking point, dude.
we
Holy
did a
shit.
study. Yeah, we did a study, and it turned out it wasn't all tuna. And Subway's like, are you shitting me? Really? And
Their
then they
buyer
can't.
is just blown away,
Yeah,
like, "What the fuck?
yeah,
That's not what my guy told me."
and then they're like, what do we do here? Well, we can't put out a thing that says like, listen, guys, we just don't know what the fuck we're buying. We're looking into the rest of our meats and hoping
And
that we're
hopefully
getting,
that's ham.
yeah, hopefully,
Maybe
hopefully
it's
for,
coyote.
yeah, hopefully for all you Muslims out there, our turkey isn't made of ham. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
But so I got
Damn, dude, that's fucking crazy. I just
yeah.
that does blow my fucking mind. That is a good one. I had no idea that this was happening.
I don't
I
buy
knew
a
that
whole
there I
lot
like so
of
I knew it was happening with caviar. I should say that. I've
okay.
heard stories about it happening with caviar, which to bring it back to the carp in the first episode is like I was just like, hey, if you guys are where's the fucking caviar market for the carp? I don't know what their eggs taste like, but maybe it's a thing. Um, because it hasn't done the sturgeon any good. And I was aware because of like when something gets so elite like caviar, it has a high level of what is it called when you print money? When you print fake money? It's not plagiarism. Counterfeit.
Counterfeit.
Counterfeiting. So there's a lot of counterfeiting that goes on. It happens in wines a lot and it happens in caviar a lot. I knew that. So
Sure.
to hear that it's happening with the flesh though, man, fuck.
Yeah.
That blows my mind.
But I suppose like they're just like nobody, most of these people, these uppity
Mhm.
yuppies that can afford red snapper don't even know what they're eating. They're all laughing, but, just sharpening their knives. Uh, red snapper today. It's not red snapper.
It's not red snapper. What the fuck, dude? Did it did the article have any indication of what it is that they're purposely putting down? Like cuz I say purposely because you already said they're not doing this on purpose. 87%, that's not an accident anymore.
No, no.
That's not
Mm-mm.
an accident. So what are they
Uh-uh.
putting down? What are they selling people instead? I mean, it's still fish.
Well, that's like tilapia is pretty good fish still, but it's a lot
Yeah,
cheaper
tilapia is
than red
awesome.
snapper. So that's what you're getting. Is you're just
Mm,
getting a good quality, cheaper fish, one that's more abundant, and people aren't really catching the
okay.
difference because they're still
Okay.
getting a good quality fish where they're like, that's pretty good. You're like, yeah.
Right.
See, the thing is, you could have got the cheaper fish and still been content, but you paid extra money
Uh-huh.
for the nice fish, which I'm not trying to put it down. Like if
Yeah.
you got the money to do so, like go get the grouper, man. Grouper's
Right.
dope. But yeah, or flounder, all that stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it didn't go into all the different fish. All it did was talk about those two specific
Yeah.
fish. But it's like,
Well, because
that's
they're
still
huge.
insane. Right. Yeah, because those are
Wow.
big selling ones.
So that's what it
But
was. Like they're putting down tilapia instead of red
yep,
snapper,
yep, they're
which
saying
often could be
tilapia.
found right next to each other.
Right, right.
It's fucked
And
up.
a lot of fish are pretty hard to tell the difference when you're looking at them.
The
That's
white
why,
flesh
like,
fish.
yep, yep, and that's why, like, the Minnesota DNR actually says when you have your fish in your freezer, like in a pack, you're supposed to keep the skin on one of the
Mm-hmm.
fillets, like keep a chunk of skin,
Yep.
so they can
Or the
identify what
tail,
kind of
right?
fish it is. Yeah, like just whatever, something there. But like the skin is what
Mm.
they talk about, just because that's like,
Mm.
the tail's a
Mm-hmm.
little bit different. That's like
Okay.
the having the skin on, and that
Mm-hmm.
chunk is easy to fillet off before you cook it. So
Oh,
that's what they
right. Okay.
suggest a lot, where you just got to cut that, like, 1-inch square
Keep
patch
them.
off there real
Yeah.
quick, just and then you're good to cook it.
Right.
But
And that's why. Okay, you keep it in. Yep. So when you have them, when you have something that you pulled fresh out of the lake, say here in Minnesota, you keep a 1 inch square of. You don't even scale it then, right? Because you know what I
no,
mean by scaling. Like,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. You
yep,
keep it on fresh as a daisy, fresh as it
yep,
was pulled out of
yep.
the water. Okay,
Yep. Well, and you just fillet it like you normally would, but then you just leave a chunk of skin.
sure,
But
sure.
we don't really bulk keep a lot of fish anyways too much, so we
Yeah,
don't really do that because we're basically catching them and then filleting them and then eating them and then
and eating them.
that's it.
Mm-hmm. It's like a one to
So,
one.
but I got
Okay,
two more
yeah. Let's hit
crazy
them, dude.
ones for you. This one we won't stick on it very long, but I just came across it and it was crazy. The first person to ever be charged with a speeding ticket in their vehicle.
Oh my god, hold on. Let me just absorb this already, because as a history buff nerd guy, as you may have already caught from our past episodes, I am anticipating something sweet right now. So hit me with it.
Well, let me preface it by this. This maniac was going 4 times the legal speed limit. This
4 times the
reckless
legal speed limit. If
4 times
you take
the legal
50
speed
times
limit.
4, that's 100 miles an hour. He could have been doing up to
Did,
100 miles an hour in a
did you say
50-mile an
50?
hour. Oh
You say
yeah.
50 times?
I usually let computers do the numbers for me. Thank you for saving me on that one. So, in Wisconsin, residential areas are restricted to 25 miles an hour, if I remember my times in Wisconsin. So, yes, he could have been doing 100 miles an hour in a residential area
He could have been, but this
because 25 times 4 is
asshole
100.
in a residential area got busted going 8 miles an hour. This dick.
That's what I was hoping.
He was going 8 miles an hour. Walter Arnold
That son of a
was
bitch. He's
in
so reckless.
in 1896 was busted going 8 miles an hour in his Benz.
Yes,
And the
it
legal
was a
limit was
Benz.
2 miles an hour. And they said that the officer had to, actually, they said the constable had to chase him down on his bicycle. Chase him down. He's going 8 miles an
Doing
hour.
8.
To put this into perspective for everyone out there, Usain Bolt topped out at 27 miles an hour.
Chase him down on this bicycle. What is
Do you
bicycle made of?
guys know
Fucking
that
lead?
nowadays double the speed limit can get you serious jail time and be potentially charged for you with attempted suicide for the driver and attempted homicide for the passengers? and Usain Bolt shattered the speed limit by like 23 times over. He is 23 times faster than the speed limit. If Usain Bolt would have ran down the street back then, they would have just been like, lock him up. He's trying to kill himself. Just for running as fast as he can. That fucking guy's gonna die.
He's gonna die. He's gonna turn to dust. He will explode at that speed.
He is so goddamn fast that everyone on that street was in danger from him running. There's attempted murder for like 30 onlookers.
The onlookers were in danger from this man running at top speed.
That's a high-speed chase back in the day. Just one fast Jamaican being chased by a bunch of guys on bicycles. then I just picture Seth Rogen's character in Superbad. It's just like, that's the fastest kid alive. That's the fastest kid alive.
Just hunched over.
All right, so I got one more for you.
Do you know what country that was in? I'm really curious.
It
had to be Germany,
England,
or did it say?
It was the English village of Paddock Wood, Kent.
Yeah, is it still around?
It says Paddock Wood, Kent. I don't know if Kent is like the state or the what the hell do they have over there?
I only thought that they had fuck man, I don't know. If you're in Britain and you're listening, please hit us up because I really want to talk to you.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I really thought that they only had what I thought were called territories or the kingdoms.
Yeah, I don't know,
like,
man.
London is a city inside of England, I thought. And England was a kingdom of the United Kingdoms.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
And then they have districts inside that? I don't know. Fuck, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much works. I don't know what Mexico has. I barely know what Canada has. I'm not very worldly as far as like what they call what they have in other places. I'm like, yeah,
right,
we got
you're
states.
Aware of the country, but like when it comes to splitting up, is like, oh yeah, shit, that's weird.
Right.
I mean, if you think about it, we have tons of splits in the United States.
Yeah. Right.
It gets super weird.
Yep. And I know that.
I bet you could think of 10 different governments that you live under.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like, it's the state, and then it's your county, and then, you know, like, it's like do they have
the
that
feds, and
shit
then there's
other
the state,
places?
and then there's the county, and then there's the city, and then there's the districts, and
right.
So and I was exaggerating when I said 10, but
yeah, it's like, does any of that stuff happen anyplace else? And we're just like, they're just like, no. It's like, there's our country, and then we got cities. And that's it.
Right. Like, you're like, oh,
fair enough. Right.
All right, man. Do you want to do one more still?
I got one more because I thought this was crazy. Because I'm always astonished by when stuff happens that's like relatively recent. Yeah. Because because of the technology we have these days and everything, you're just like, what? It always catches me off guard when you hear about this stuff. But
yeah.
The world's smallest reptile was discovered in January of this year.
No way.
Yes.
Fuck yes, dude. January 2021. They discovered the smallest reptile in the world.
Yep.
What Amazon basin was this thing found in?
It was in northern Madagascar.
Oh, it was Madagascar. Of course it was fucking Madagascar.
And it's a tiny chameleon that measures 28.9 millimeters.
Millimeters?
Yep, and is believed to be the smallest reptile on Earth.
Oh my God.
I should say I
So
didn't
what, a
look. What's
28.9
millimeters to
millimeters? That's like the size of a fingernail? An average fingernail?
um
Like, are you kidding
it's
me?
1 millimeter is 0.0394 inches.
Yeah,
So
it's so small. It's just millimeters are ridiculously tiny. I mean, there's other measurements that are small, but this is like human eye measurements that we're talking about when it comes down to it.
yeah. No, I'm just
Because like once you get past a millimeter, you're getting into territory where it is a little bit difficult for a human to comprehend. Like the physical world starts to sort of fade away.
right.
That sounds like an exaggeration, but dude, hold something that's a millimeter one time.
Right. So
Find a millimeter and just
I
look at
just
it, and you're just gonna be like,
yeah,
Jesus Christ,
right.
that's so
And
fucking small.
and to help everybody here in America, I just did the googling. I should have done it earlier, but I wasn't thinking about it. An inch is 25.4 millimeters. And this thing is, what did I have it? 28.9 millimeters. So it's just barely over an inch. And this is
Oh,
this is a
I'm
reptile
surprised
with a
that was
tail.
under.
This is a reptile with a
Oh,
tail though.
right. Don't forget, it has a tail.
Yes. And it's just over an inch, which is like
So
from the end of your pointer finger to that first knuckle.
yeah, so when it's standing, I bet you it fits on your fingernail. Like
Oh yeah, yeah.
4 feet, it can stand on your fingernail.
Yep. Its feet would be on your fingernail for sure.
That
And
is
then it has that
fucking
tall.
wild, dude.
Yep. You want to know something crazier?
Okay.
The genitalia of the males measures almost 20% of its body length. He's little, but he got a big old dick. just they say but there's one thing about these critters that's big for its size. They got big old dick.
They got huge dicks.
That's one thing I did do math on. I'm 6'2", and if I would have had one that was 20% of my size, I'd be looking at almost a 15-incher, man. That's like, good on you, little chameleon. That's that's a big old hog.
That's ridiculous. I wonder if it like props itself up on its boner.
Yeah, right.
Cock push-ups. Yeah, one's all you need.
It's just like, that thing have two tails.
Oh my god, that's crazy, dude. They found that in northern Madagascar?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That is wild as shit.
It's
Dude.
northern Madagascar. And the itty bitty
Wow.
chameleon was
Does it
recently
change colors
discovered and
like other
reported
chameleon?
in January 21 issue of
Did it say that?
Scientific Reports. I did not look at the actual scientific
may not
report,
know.
but I bet it does.
I mean,
It's
you would
probably
think
why.
that to be a chameleon, you would think it would be categorized as something else if it didn't change colors. I don't know enough about the chameleon family, but
Yeah, I don't know.
you would think.
Yeah, because it didn't like give it actual title or anything. Like, maybe it's too new.
Oh, like they're still doing more research on it, but they're just like, hey, by the way, we found this thing. Check it out. Like you just see
Right.
the scientists like running out of the woods. Like somebody publish this quick. This is crazy.
Right.
I can't believe it. You guys are never gonna believe what we saw. Look at its huge dick.
Yep. Oh, it's called now I'm having a
Uh-oh. Internet.
Brookisia nana. It's two words. A Brookisia nana.
Oh, okay.
and
Marquisia,
it
yeah.
says its body is only 13.5 millimeters long.
Ah,
So it's
see?
like half an inch. The
Yeah.
body's half an inch. So it's half of it is tail.
Holy shit.
That's
That's
nuts.
crazy, dude. That is
Oh,
just
I
crazy.
suppose that's not just the tail, that's the tail and the head. Oh,
Oh, okay. It's talking about just its body. Sure.
okay. I don't know if
Wow.
this will show. I'll try to zoom in a little bit.
All right. Patreon people at your $1
If you're
level.
watching,
If
that's
you're
it
watching
standing on a matchstick.
on a match. If you go over to patreon.com/realaftv, real with the double E in the middle, you will see this fucking thing. Otherwise, you're going to have to Google it because this has been the Real AF TV podcast. The
Yeah.
show about fishing and random takes from the land of 10,000 lakes. Fucking hey, Tim. This was a fun episode. It was goofy. It was a little different. It wasn't our usual, but I liked it. You set us up a while ago for the random take. I think you had a general idea of what this is. I think this was our general conception. Your idea could still come to fruition in a different way, but this was fun.
Yeah, dude. I enjoy talking about weird shit.
Yeah.
And I think most people do though, right? Anything that makes me go, "What the shit? What did you just say?" I
Yeah.
love all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, man, for sure. Curious. We're curious. We're just like into like, oh, something new. Let's check it out. And let us know if you liked the sort of newsy opening that we did where we kind of grab a couple stories from the fishing world and give it a chat. So please, this was a different episode. We're giving it a go, and I think I tried to make that clear at the beginning. I don't know if I did or not, because I was off to a rough start. We were off to a rough start. We were kind of shaking off our tired that we've been having
Oh,
dealing with
yes,
the sicknesses.
yeah,
Not trying to make excuses, by the way.
right.
Hey, if you're gonna do a
But
job, you
we
got to fucking
do,
show up for it.
yes, but we apologize if things didn't go according to plan because we are both struggling with things in the personal life, and that's just what it is. But
Yep,
we're here.
I think we
I,
pulled it off. I think it was
I,
good, but give us feedback, right?
yeah, if you're like it was dumb and I hated it, then tell us that. But like not like that because it would hurt my feelings. So.
That's right. That's right. I will be damaged by that. No, I really, but seriously, we would like to hear it and get the feedback because that's how we're going to make the podcast better. This one was different because it wasn't just two topics. It was sort of like multiple topics inside of the container that is the fishing and random take that the podcast is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we want to hear your feedback for sure. Uh,